Fast forward 3 months later, and you will see me crawling on the floor of the trailer we lived in across from a very smelly sheep farm in Taos, New Mexico. I had passed out after being strangled. The house was quiet, and it was dark outside. I pulled myself up into the bathroom and looked in the mirror to examine the black, red, and blue marks that were emerging around my neck, which left the mark in the shape of my husband's hands for over a month, but left a mark in my soul, which is still there today. I saw clumps of drying blood all over my scalp. My face was swollen beyond recognition. My lips were cracked. My eyes were black, and underneath my nose was caked with dried blood. I stumbled through the house, picking up clods of my own hair which had been pulled out as he dragged me towards the bedroom to strangle me. I walked into my daughter's bedroom, and I saw my little girls sleeping with their arms around each other after a long night of crying and screaming in total terror as they watched their mother get beaten by their own father. I didn't know what to do. I was afraid to call the police. He would shoot me with his gun or slice my neck with his knife as soon as he would hear the police cars coming up the driveway. He would hold me hostage. He would shoot me and then himself. I truly was at the bottom of a deep, dark hole. When you're at the bottom of a deep, dark hole long enough, you truly forget how bright the world is above. Your family and your loved ones tried many times to pull you out, but you weren't ready, and so you resisted. And then once you are ready, you're trapped. You blame yourself. You feel like your abuser is right. You really are a stupid piece of dirt. You wonder if there will ever be a right time to leave for good. And then you realize there is never a right time. I lost my job the next week. I was teaching preschool, and the director was already getting freaked out that William would come to the school and stare at me through the windows. And when I came to work with my face all smashed up, despite my talented abilities with makeup, she did not buy the story that I had been in a horseback riding accident. And she said it wasn't safe for William to be hanging around the school stalking me. This was me finally hitting the bottom. And I was so sad and so scared because I didn't know what to do next. And then a miracle happened. A stranger walked into my life. He came to my trailer on that stinky sheep farm and he said, "Hello down there. What are you doing in that deep dark hole? Come up here to see the sunshine." Okay, he didn't really say it like that. What he actually said was, "I hope I don't offend you, but what is a pretty girl like you doing with a loser like him?" His name was Leonard. When you are at the bottom of that hole and you don't think it goes any deeper unless it is your grave, what do you do next? You look up at that stranger who is shining a little bit of light down to you, and you say to yourself, "Wow, I sure did slip quite a ways down here. I didn't realize I had actually gone down this far. Why am I down here? I don't want to be down here anymore." I wasn't sure I could make it out, but for the first time in my life, I had hope that I could. So for the first time in my life, I got down on my knees and I prayed, "God, if you are out there, if you are real, please give me wings to fly." And I was hoping for actual wings to fly, but it didn't happen exactly that way. But instead of wings, God used the kindness of Leonard to throw me down some climbing gear. He offered me a job. He took me to church. He helped me with my child care. He became my best friend, my #1 cheerleader, and he got me a lawyer. Having some hope in my heart, I could see the light at the end. But I had to fight and claw my way out of that hole, and it wasn't easy because during the 12 long months of climbing towards that light, I slipped many times. There were many obstacles, and sometimes I even got pushed back down. After I finally had the courage to get divorced, I was slapped in the face with a legal problem. In the state of New Mexico, I had to share joint custody with William unless I could prove he was abusive to the children or was an unfit father, and that is harder to do than you might think. It didn't matter what he had done to me. I had a restraining order against him, but we still had to see each other in a parking lot to exchange our children every other weekend. And I wanted to come back here to Georgia, but if I crossed the state lines with my own children, I would have been charged with kidnapping. If you want to know how in the world I made it back home and to learn the whole story, you'll have to read the book. If you can't pick up your copy here today, they will be on sale at the Little Ladybug on Thompson Bridge Road. So despite all these obstacles, having Leonard there, shining his light, I never ever gave up climbing. Eventually, after the year-long legal battle and nearly being killed by William, I earned my wings. Sorry. I had to say a very heartbreaking goodbye to Leonard after he hid my daughters and me at his sister's house. And my parents hired a moving company to pack up all my furniture and belongings in the middle of the night and drive it all the way back here to Georgia. And during a top secret mission, I took my 2 daughters and we literally and figuratively flew out of there via Delta Airlines, and I hightailed it out of my husband's life for good. And that was 13 years ago. And sometimes it seems like it never happened. And other times the memories are so raw, it's like it happened yesterday. And 2 years later, I met that man standing right there, Adrian. We have been married for 11 years. Adrian adopted my 2 daughters, and we have given them 2 little brothers and a little sister. And it's a fairy tale. William lost his family. He lost his parental rights. He lost his ability to work and drive. Unfortunately, he has yet to find his way into recovery and is permanently brain damaged from crystal meth use. He has damaged his teeth. He has been in and out of jail, and he's even been homeless. The winter after my father died, I got a phone call from William's mother, and she told me about a tragic accident William had been in. He had been found on the side of the highway in northern New Mexico, left stripped naked and beaten nearly to death by a gang in a drug deal gone bad. He was pushed unconscious out of the back of a truck, left in a snowbank for dead. But he miraculously survived after being found and taken to the hospital and treated for hypothermia and extreme frostbite. And he happened to have damaged certain body parts. And when William's mother told me this, I just couldn't help but to think my father finally got his revenge on the other side. The moral of my story is that the stranger offered me a turning point. He offered me hope when I didn't have any. We can all be Leonard. You never know how your words and actions will impact someone else's life. How terrible my story might have ended if Leonard had walked away when he realized I was in such a dangerous situation. And how terrible my story might have ended if he had become too frustrated to help a girl like me who was so brainwashed and confused, because girls like me can't see what you see. Friends, we can prevent domestic violence. Schools must take it seriously that boys who become violent or bully others do not need punishment. They need help. We must teach young boys how to handle their pains and frustrations so they do not grow up to become dominating, controlling men. And schools need to realize that all young girls are at risk, not just the ones you think. And as a community, we must support programs which will plant seeds into the hearts and minds of our young people to educate them about dating abuse. Tell them the signs. Tell them how it begins. Tell them that love is a verb, not a feeling. If your boyfriend says he loves you, but he hurts you, or isolates you, or controls you, he is not loving you. When you leave this breakfast, I want you all to reach into your pockets and get out your flashlights. Have it ready, because you never know who is at the bottom of their deep, dark hole, waiting for you to shine your light. Thank you.